Hi guys, welcome to another episode of CedhTheLost, a podcast about CEDH. Today, it's just me and Parker. Say hi, Parker.
Hi, it's me.
We were gonna have the Nicholas be on this episode, but he had an emergency that he was very vague about. But hopefully he's okay.
Yeah.
But the show must go on.
True. You will
Yeah.
be missed.
But we're doing a tournament recap. We can go through Nick's really quick. He did bad.
Poor Nick. Cart did better than him.
Cart did better than me. We're washed. No, I did talk to Nick a little bit. He had 2 double Nadu pods.
Yeah.
He got bent over by the bird twice. And then, kind of funny, the podcast was also a detriment to him. He had multiple people counter his tutors because they knew he was on he was on Collector Roof. So because of the podcast, he had a harder time playing the game, which is super funny.
That is actually funny.
Because people are like, we can't let you get your Collector Roof. And he's like, you don't know I'm on Collector Roof. And they're like, no, we do. So that was cool. But yeah, Nick did bad. I also did bad. We can go over to...
Well, you guys still... I think you guys still did fine. It's just, like, not...
yeah, not what we wanted to do.
Yeah. You guys still got a win out of it.
Yeah. So, Nathaniel. We got Nathaniel here with 5 points. Me with 5. Nick also had 5. I think he also had a win. Is this his last name in the system?
That might be it. No, yeah, it might be.
I don't think so. Maybe Nick didn't get a win.
Oh, maybe he didn't. He did. Wait, no, he 100% did. Oh,
he had a win and a
bye.
Okay. Good job, Nick. You beat me. But yeah, it was a good tournament overall. I definitely had my ups and downs. Parker was cooking basically the entire time.
Yeah, when undefeated in Swiss.
Yep.
2 wins, 3 draws.
Yeah. Shout out to Parker, Carter, anyone else from the Bellingham area that made top. Jack.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is the top 16, so congrats to everyone. Obviously, we see Nick Hammond won, so...
Again.
Yeah. I already made the thumbnail for the video, and it says Nick won. Being Nicholas Hammond, not our Nick. But I think it's really funny.
It is.
Yeah. But really good tournament. A lot of really good competition. There was 6 Nadu players. 4 of them made top 16. Which is really good conversion rate, turns out.
Yeah.
But we're going to go by round and talk about our games and stuff like that like we normally do. But before that, I took some little pictures. I stole them from Marcus and stuff. Let's start at the beginning. Our Lord and Savior, Atlas. So these are pictures that Marcus took, and these are just some of the boys, the crew. Me with the glasses. Our boy Nick, looking smexy as heck. Jack, one of the Bellingham boys. We had to get him a t-shirt. He's gonna look great in a Bellingham boy t-shirt, let me tell you. The winner, Nick Hammond. Love the man. Parker.
I'm at the car. Didn't even get a picture from Marcus. I'm just at the car.
I know. Well, we did arrive like an hour and a half early.
We did.
This is like the venue. This is everyone. I think I died real quick this round, so I just took a picture with the cameras. Our boy, our biggest supporter. And then the next one's really funny. It's an opening hand. This is a turn 2 protected Adnaz, which they don't know, but I really like Alex's face here. But yeah.
He looks like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah. And then here's the top 4. Kenrith, Nadu, and then Jarrett. Love Jarrett on Malcolm Chavesh.
Yeah, Nadu, 2 Nadus in the top pod.
Yeah. Here's this tab. Alright, round 1. I guess I'll go first. since mine is gonna be. I guess I should set a precedent. I felt like this tournament was a 3-round tournament for me. That's because round 1 and round 2, I had nerves up the wazoo. Let me tell you. For the first time in I think 10 multi-digit tournaments, I've told Parker, "Hey, I'm going out to my car. If I'm not back when the round starts, come and get me." And that's because of like nerves of multiple different reasons. For people that know, they know. But the first 2 rounds, I just wasn't there mentally, and it really showed in the games. Lost to Josh, so a Team CedhTheLost member, which is okay. This was a hell pod for the first pod, if we're being real. Priscilla, and then Lauren and Josh, who are both on Team CedhTheLost. Like, all people that any given tournament can win the tournament. So that was fun. Josh was on Nadu. He went first. I kept a hand that could beat Nadu. It was just a very unfortunate turn of events. Because he had a turn 2 Nadu, but he also had a turn 2 spell Skite before that. And my answer for Nadu was a red Elemental Blast, which he can redirect to the spell Skite, because it says destroy target permanent if it's red, so you can target non-red things. So he just got outvalued by Nadu, even though I kept a hand that beats Nadu most of the time if there's not a spell Skite. And that happens. Lauren had to silence Priscilla, who was on Corvold that night, because they played a dockside for 9 or 10, I believe. And they were going to be able to cast Corvold with 6 available treasures afterwards to crack and draw 6 cards. So he had to silence there, unfortunately. And then we lost on Josh's next turn, so it was a turn 3 death. But that happens. Parker, how did your... Oh, it was a draw. How did your round 1 go?
It was a good game. It was honestly a really good game. It was double Nadu pot.
Yeah.
And we were joking around because Zach, who's on Nadu, is a really good friend, and he's so fun to play against. He's like one of my number 1 ops because he gets so lucky against me. We were playing, we're doing really well. We were presenting a win on like turn 6 or something. And he was basically tapped out, and he was threatening to give me 7 poison counters at instant speed. He did the poison counters, flipped off Nadu, hit 4 things. The 4 things was 1 land, and it was like, it was 1 blue source, which he needed, March of the Swirling Mist, another blue card, and another blue card, which he could just instant speed kill me.
Yeah.
Carter had ended up putting a Ranger Captain on the board. I ended up putting double Seaedh activation on the stack. First one grabbed a Sakashima the Imposter to copy the Ranger Captain, which was just a way to be able to delay so that I didn't die at instant speed.
Yeah.
So it went to Zach's turn. We got to a point where Zach tried to kill me at instant speed with 10 poison counters, which first time ever in my CEDH time playing that has happened to me.
Yeah.
I convinced Carter to sack his Ranger Captain, which then in response Zach responded, and then on top of everything I sacked my Ranger Captain and then died to poison to force a draw. Zach flipped like Lightning Greaves and other like really insane cards for Nadu off the bat.
Yeah.
Off the top, and we would have lost if we didn't sack both Ranger Captains, because he would have been able to win in instant speed. But it was a really fun game, and it was just all around good.
Yeah, for sure. All right, this is round 2. I lost. I was going 4th seed, so I was already in a rough spot. Yeah, Jacob was on Krom Tavesh, and then we had Guy on John Dargo, so Rayhan Dargo, and then Mark Santos was on Kinnan. I was going fourth. I mulled down to 3, I think. It was either 3 or 4. And I kept it because I had a Mystic Remora. I actually have my notes right here so I can look back. This game was unfortunate because I got back in the game, obviously. That's what a fish does to you. I lost because I wasn't good enough at communicating. The Kinnan player, who normally is pretty good about interacting when they have interaction, said pass to priority bully me because I had like 9 cards in hand. None of them were counter spells for the Underworld Breach that Jacob had on the stack. And instead of me being like, hey, I honestly don't have interaction, do one of you have it and I can reset priority, I just said pass, and then we lost the game because of it. Which was, again, I think due to like the mental anguish that I had at the beginning of the tournament, before the tournament, and then the first 2 rounds. Yeah, it was a rough mental day for me, but that's okay. We kind of come back in the later rounds, kind of. But yeah, I just made a mental mistake, didn't communicate, which, if we look at the players, I'm probably the one who's supposed to communicate the most, and lead the table in the conversation, and I just didn't, and it lost us the game, which is okay. Things happen like that. I'm gonna make another video where it's just me going into more and more of the misplays that I made throughout each game, because each game I have a couple paragraphs of what I made mistakes on, which is always a great feeling, but we learn from them. Round 2, Parker. It looks like you won this game.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly what happened round 2. I just remembered I won. It was, I think, a pretty fast game. I honestly can't remember.
It was a fast game because you came over and watched my game. At
Yeah,
least part of it.
I honestly don't remember this game. I need to take more notes.
Hey, that's okay. You won.
Yeah, I ended up winning.
And you went first, so.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of any detail, and I really can't think of any.
Hey, that's okay. We have me on round 3. I won this pod. This was the one against Alex where I had the turn 2 protected Force Will. Jesse was on Magda, and Dover was on Blood Pod. So there was one blue player, and it was Derevi. And he kept a pretty decent hand, if all things considered, knowing how I play Rogsai. Normally I play a little bit slower with Rogsai, so he kept a turn 1 something Conquester. The guy that whenever a creature or artifact enters under your opponent's control, they can have it enter tapped. If they don't, you create a 1/1. Which, how I play Rogsai normally just can kill me with combat damage by turn 3, 4, where I'm not presenting a win by then, just because of how I played the deck. But the deck was very nice to me this game, and it was either going to be a turn 1 unprotected Adnaz, but my first card I drew for the turn for the game was Adnaz, and I was like, ooh, don't need to use my Mystical Tutor. This can be for Force Will. Which was great, and then it was pretty easy. After that, I remember the pile. I wrote it down. It was maybe I didn't write it down. Oh yeah, turn 2 Adnaz. Get Defense Grid, cast Windfall for 25.
Damn.
So everyone drew 25, but they had all their lands tapped because it was the first game of the first turn for them, and I had a Defense Grid out. So that felt pretty cool. But yeah, that was a pretty simple game. Only game I won for the day, so that's okay. Pod 2, round 3.
This one
Parker.
I do remember. This one was really fun. Kelly on Kinnan, Sasha on Thrasios Vile, me on Sisei, and then Jay on... What was Jay on? I forgot exactly. But no, this was a really fun game. We were going back and forth. Ended up taking it after Sasha messed up her line. We were able to stop her. I had a win earlier, but got flashed a mind break trap so I ended up playing a dockside for the count was like 8 with 2 sackable. So it was 6. Um, Kelly ended up cloning Sasha's dockside a turn before, sacked his treasures to flash in a Hullbreaker horror, and I'm looking at my hand with dockside, dork, and a tutor, and I'm just like, I can win this game.
Yeah.
And then but when he flashed in the Hullbreaker horror, Jay was on a new Capennic commander that was white, blue, black, I believe, with
Was it
conniving.
Rafine?
Rafine, yeah, which is really cool.
Yeah.
And he flashed me the Hullbreaker, or flashed me the Mindbreak trap when being like, I think I have a way of dealing with this. And I was like, okay, so I'm not gonna go for my win, because if I try to go for my win, then it's just like I might be screwed.
Yeah.
Jay plays a turn 1 Lavinia, which shuts off so much interaction right off the bat.
Yeah.
So I'm like, he's the only one that can cast interaction. Sasha's tapped out from a Ristic Study. Like, I could go for it. I just have no backup. So I ended up detutoring after playing my dockside. And then I think I ended up passing. Jay swung at me. I killed my dockside because I didn't. There was already a combo on the board, but I would rather it being in the bin that I could reanimate it with like Tyvar or something.
Yeah.
Sasha goes for her loop. We're able to stop her. Goes back to my turn. I ended up drawing Tyvar way back, or a couple turns before, and was able to reanimate in my dockside and just win the game. I think the count was like 8 because it's like Kinnan, Rafine, and Sasha at the same time, which has a good amount of artifacts. So
Yeah.
it was a really good game, really fun pod.
Yeah. This is round 4. Win last again. Always really good playing a turbo deck. But that shouldn't really matter because I'm a good enough player to win in 4th seat. Tristan was on Timna Malcolm. We had Nick here on Timna Thrasios. Wyatt was on his Holly, and I was on Rogside. I went down to 4 cards again. Keeping a turn 2 wheel, I believe it was. Yeah, turn 2 Time Twister. The hand was Blue Source, Ancient Tomb, Time Twister, Force of Negation. And there was a turn 1 Malcolm into a turn 2 Smothering Tithe with enough mana to cast. He got enough treasures to cast Born Upon the Wind, Grasp of Fate, steal my Wheel of Fortune, which he was looking for Opposition Agent, which I don't play. Which he then cast the Wheel of Fortune, where I could have Force of Negation, but I was like, I'll have 7 cards. He'll have 21 treasures, but he'll only have 7 cards. He might be able to win, but me and Nick should be able to have enough interaction to stop him, was our thought process, my thought process. So we all drew 7. He made 21 treasures. And he did really nothing else. He cast Timna and passed, and then Nick tried resolving a tutor for Collector Roof. And it got Opposition Agents, so he drew the Oppo. Which is unfortunate that out of his 100 cards, he drew the 1 card he was looking for. But it happens sometimes. So we ended up losing that game in about 6 more turns while they pieced together some card advantage with his commanders and stuff like that. The only mistake I could have changed in that game was Force of Negation the wheel, and then I'm left with a Arid Mesa and a Infernal Plunge. So I don't do anything the rest of the game. We don't lose, but I also don't do anything. So I decided to take the riskier play of drawing 7 cards where I could draw gas. which I talked to Nick about for like 30 minutes after the game, and he was like, "No, I'm pretty sure that was the correct play, especially how your deck was built and what you're supposed to be doing with the deck." So I don't really view this game as a misplay as much as I do just bad RNG.
I feel like
But
that's the
Parker,
correct call. Is you
yeah, I'm a
just
turbo deck.
yeah. You don't
And
have to
I,
type in my name. I'm up.
oh yeah,
This game was so much fun. Continue.
what do you mean continue?
Oh, you were saying something before I interrupted you. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Okay, so this game. Okay, so we're in pod one. Sitting down. It's Jacob on Crom Tavesh.
Yeah, I lost to him round 2.
Then it's Justin on Rocco.
Yep.
And then
Love
it's
that
me
guy.
on Sisse, and then Ross on Rogsai.
Yep.
We're sitting at the table with 4 turbo decks, and they're like, let's just draw. Come on, let's do it. And you know what I'm like? I'm like, no. Like, we're going to play this out. And they're like, there's no way you win before us. And I'm like, are you sure about that? And he's like, yes, my deck is faster than yours. I was like, okay, we can go with that. And then they're like, Broadside is faster than your deck. I was like, okay,
You can go with that.
we can go with that. Ross goes for a gamble, hits his Underworld Reach. Cool. Goes to turn rotation. I attempt to win, and I get stopped because Ross has a red elemental blast for my 3 fairy.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
Yeah.
It hurt. Basically, it was a really, really fun game. Ross ends up mystical tutoring for a Wheel of Fortune, and we're like, you know what? I was at a point where I was stopped, and I'm trying to get gas, which is fine. I still have one other play that I can do.
Yeah.
Jacob is kind of like in the same position. He's gone more mid range, drawing off Tavesh. And Justin played a Felidar Guardian and a Dockside and was 1 mana off of winning the game. And we're just like, okay, we'll wheel and see what happens. I wheel into like 3 lands, a Deafening Silence, and something else. I forget exactly what it doesn't really set me off far ahead. Jacob wheels into just like he wheels okay. He was gonna Praetor's Grasp Ross for his Underworld Breach, and we're like, the Underworld Breach that's in his graveyard.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh shit. Well, so while Jacob is putting together like just like having fun and putting together, trying to put together a win, I look over at Justin. We're both at 12 points or 11 points at this point. We're at the top of the leaderboard. I'm like, hand for hand, middle of the tournament. After we wheeled, and he's like, sure. Hands me his hand. Underworld Breach, Silence, Food Chain, Dockside on board, Felidar Guardian on board, untap with 8 mana.
Yeah.
I looked at his hand, and he looked at me, and I'm just like, and then he is like, I'd like to put an ID on the stack. And I looked at the table, and I was like,
yes,
let's ID.
That's awesome.
Justin is an awesome guy, and it was such a fun game. That was like one of my favorite pods of the day.
Yeah, that's exciting.
Yeah.
Me and Justin are gonna work together here in the future. We're gonna hop in a call together, and he's gonna teach me his Rocco ways, and I'm gonna bring Rocco to the next big tournament.
Dude, Rocco's so fast.
Yeah, I ordered some of the cards. It's interesting because the last video was retooling with Dylan, and I was telling Dylan about Justin, and I showed him the deck list, and he was like, I hate this deck list. And I was like, why? And he was like, well, because it's Turbo Rector. And I'm like, but it's not.
though.
Like, sure, the Rectors are in there, but the Rectors say you win the game. But it's not Turbo Rector. But yeah, the list is sick. I ordered some of the cards the other day. They haven't came in the mail yet, but I'm excited to play Rocco and learn from Justin. I think I'm going to try convincing him to hop on an episode to explain Rocco to me. Because I think that would be a really good episode because he's the top Rocco player in the state. Let's be real.
True.
Sorry, Dylan. He's an Arizona boy now, but I don't know why anything's happening. Round 5. This is my last round. I went first, so I'm like in a prime spot. We had David, Nathaniel, and Ethan. This was an amazing pod. Ethan made top 4. But Nathaniel and David, home dogs. David's on freaking... Oh my gosh. I'm blanking on the commander's name now. Thada Adele. There we go. And then Nathaniel playing Jensen Luris, the deck that I'm going to bring to the next tournament this weekend at Tacoma. Amazing players. I love both of them. Ethan's also really chill. It was a great pod. I should have won this fucking game. Parker was sitting next to me, and I had Adnons in my hand for 4 turns.
Dude,
with 9 mana.
I was dying inside.
But I know David had enough interaction, or I thought he had enough interaction to stop me. But as the game progressed, he did not have enough interaction to stop me. I could have jammed and won the game. But I'm a scared little pussy boy. But that's okay.
I saw you discard Underworld Breach and Demonic Consultation. I was just like, your head's absolute gas.
Yeah, I should have went Underworld Breach, have it get countered, pass the turn. Next turn, Necropotence, have it get countered, pass the turn. Next turn, Adnaz with 4 pieces of backup. But I'm a nincompoop.
Either that or in your upkeep, or no, you drew Adnaz return. You paying for fish and then drawing Adnaz. I know. I was like the pain. Ah! I was like, I felt the pain.
Yeah, this game was rough just because I probably should have won the game but didn't. Because I didn't press the go button. But I think that comes to like where my mental was at for the day because it wasn't in a good spot basically the entire time. We got a little bit better after lunch, after round 2, and 3, 4, and 5 I was in a little bit better place. But if, say, it was a different tournament, like, say this was happening at Gabby's, like the following weekend, I think I win 4 of the 5 games that I played. I was just not, like, mentally prepared for the tournament, which is okay. It happens. But this game, I loved playing in this pod. I love everyone that I played with in the pod. But yeah, I didn't win it, even though I probably should have, but that's okay. And then Parker.
So this game, so we were all cooked at this point, like really cooked. Sat down at the table, and then 3 of them were like, "Let's draw," and I'm like, "It's Jared, Atlas, and Luke. Yeah. I'm fine with it. I'm not gonna win this pod."
Yeah. You're like, this is a hell pod.
I'm hooked at this point. I'm not gonna win this game.
You're like, draw. Let's play, and then you sit there for 9 hours, basically.
So we drew instantly, and I was able to watch Bailey's game.
Yep.
I remember the look on your face when you watched me walk over to you.
Yeah, I was like,
what the fuck?
Yeah. But yeah. I guess I'll go into what happened during top 16 and stuff like that. Well, because Parker made top 16, fun fact.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyway, top 16 occurs. Me and a few other people like Nick, we play a few pickup games. With Isaiah. First game I played Rogsai, and he was like, "Hey, I've been playtesting Malcolm Timna," and I'm like, "Hey, that's a deck I've been thinking about brewing. Can I try out your list?" And I play like I think 3 games on it, and it feels really good. So I might try that deck out eventually. There was a Nadu at the table, which I really appreciated, just so I could learn how to play against the deck more. I have some interesting takes that I'm not ready to put out to the public yet on how to stop Nadu, but I think it just requires a little bit change in like deck building philosophy, which I'm really good at. Let me tell you, I had multiple people look through my deck for opposition agent during the tournament, didn't find it. I had David attacked me with Auto Adele turn 1, and he was looking, not for turn 1, like turn 2, looking for the One Ring. I told him, it's not in my deck. Nice try. And he's like, I don't believe you. And he looked at every single one of my cards, and he was like, wow, it's not in your deck. So I'm okay with having weird deck philosophies, but I think this is gonna just have to start being the norm, because if Nadu doesn't get banned, which I don't think it will, because you have to have a way to stop it. So I did that, and then I guess top 4. I guess in between top 16 and top 4, while some of the top 16 pods were going, I played Pauper with Sasha, which was a great time. It was like an hour and a half, 2 hours of just jamming Pauper, which was fun. I'm gonna build a Pauper deck. I think it's gonna be Blue-Black Terror,
Oh
for
my
those who
gosh.
know, which is just a Blue-Black control deck, really. Or a Spell Slinger deck, I guess, is a better way to describe it. And then I played One Piece. I learned how to play One Piece by Jarrett, which was also a great time. Yeah, yeah. So I stayed. I got a hotel room, expecting us to like 4 of us to go in there. None of us stayed at the hotel. I
3 of us went
canceled it.
home. Yeah.
But that's okay. I also went home just at like, I started driving home at like midnight.
Yeah.
Which is okay. I had a great time in between these. But yeah, how did your top 16 pod go?
Dude, pod 3, this was a hell of a fun pod. It felt like Bellingham versus Lacey, not gonna lie.
Yeah,
Me and Carter were vibing the whole time. The whole pod was vibing the whole
yeah,
time. I had a pretty insane hand. I kind of wish there was one piece of fast mana so I could go a little bit faster, but there's not much I can complain about it. The hand was turn 1 land pass, turn 2 flowering of the white tree, turn 3 Selvala, into turn 4 Sisay and win the game, which
yeah,
is still really good.
yep,
So I basically play that out. I go Carter mows down to 4, Jared keeps 6, Sasha keeps first 7, I keep second 7.
yeah.
Um Carter gets Jarrett is the new counter spell, the Mystical Serenade, is that the name of it?
Strict Serenade?
Strict Serenade. Najila.
Yeah, that's
Um
rough.
and Carter made a misplay by not playing his Lotus Petal to be able to counter back.
Yeah,
It didn't really matter because Jared just had a mental misstep for his offer you can't refuse.
yeah,
So that happens. Carter builds like I think he had a turn 1 Najila or turn 2 Najila, so it was on a clear board. Najila is pretty scary.
yep,
Jared has mulls to, I think maybe Jared mulled the 4. I think Jared mulled the 4, and it was like a turn 1 Malcolm, turn 2 Tavesh. Yeah.
that's a pretty aggressive mulligan from Jarrett.
Yeah, he had to mulligan down. I think he was getting like no lands hands. Um and he kept a gemstone pre-game, so he
Crazy.
went even lower. And yeah, it was a rough start for Jared.
Yeah,
Sasha kept I think turn 1 Thrasios, and so we get to turn 4 and I play Sisay, and Jared's looking at me like, "Are you about to win the game?" And I'm like, "Probably." He's like, "Why would you do that?" And I'm like, because I want to." And Jared played a Wandering Archaic on the board, and
yeah,
so I'm like, any counter spell, and I'm fucked.
yeah,
um, Sasha for her turn, the turn before me, draws blue flare, and I get blue flared on Sisay,
yeah,
which set me back not really far at all. I just tap Savala for 4 and then cast Sisay. Ice for the second time in a turn. And they're like, okay, now you're the threat. And I'm like, that makes sense. Um, Jared has an Otawara to Otawara my Savala at instant speed on the end of Sasha's turn. Paying for ward and everything, and it's just like, okay, I'll play Savala and pass. And then Jared had built up enough mana to just land a Tide Spout and win the game.
Yeah.
And it was a really fun pod. We were messing around the whole time. They were giving me shit for getting blue flared after the game, and I was just like, listen here. But yeah, no, it was a really fun game.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah. And then none of the Bellingham boys made final pod.
True.
Nick won. He's probably the fastest Nadu player I saw. He had a really complex board state, and he went through it in like 10 minutes. And then Ethan, the other Nadu player at the table, was like, no, not Ethan,
Luke.
Was like, okay, guys, we can probably concede here. He has the game. And then they were like, okay, yeah, you got it. Which Nadu, we can talk about Nadu for a little bit. Good deck.
Yeah, it's an interesting deck. I only saw 2 Nadus at the tournament, or played against 2 Nadus at the tournament. And they were both in the same pod.
I think I played against 3. Not the end of the world.
Yeah.
It's just like any other CDH deck, realistically. To me, it seems kind of like Tayam. Like when Tayam got super popular, the way you stopped Tayam was like Dranith, remove Tayam 1, 2, 3 times if you have to, like even counter it. But I think it's in the same realm as that.
Yeah. I even made the comment that I think it's like Winota. It's people are going to be scared of it until they learn how the deck works, and then once they learn how the deck works, people are gonna realize how to beat it.
Yeah, there's been a lot of like ban talk on it, and I understand why, because it's done well in 2 tournaments. Like 2-3 tournaments, it's done really well, but it's like it's also only been 2-3 tournaments.
Yeah.
Let people put Strict Serenade in their deck. Let them put whatever they need to put into their deck to help stop the deck.
Yeah.
Like Tidebinder could see more play, because as soon as you have a Shuko get put onto Nadu, you can, because Nadu's ability will trigger, you can counter that ability, and then Nadu loses all the abilities, which he gives your creatures the ability whenever they're targeted. Flip your top card if it's a land, put it in play. If not, put it into your hand or draw the card. So I could see Tidebinder making a comeback.
Yeah.
Trick Bind, honestly, would also do the trick.
Kind of. Yeah.
I have to. We can just look up Trick Bind right now.
Trick Bind is weird because of the fact that it doesn't stop it if they have like a tap and untapper.
Counter target activated or triggered ability. If a permanent's ability is countered this way. Oh, never mind. This is bad.
Yeah, it'll still be able to activate on other people's turns.
This does stop it, actually. This is just a fine answer as well. It stops different lines. So if they have Scoot Swarm out, if they don't have enough lands to make multiple Scoot Swarms, you can Trick Bind the first to Scoot Swarm, and then the triggered ability. If ability count... Oh, activated
It's only activated abilities. Yeah.
Okay, this doesn't work.
Yeah,
so I think Tidebinder.
It's really Tidebinder.
Yeah, this works with Shuko and Lightning Greaves. You can counter those, and then, you can't reactivate them. So in those lines, it's pretty good. Yeah, like it's just gonna take a little bit to figure out what the best things are. There was a tournament where there was a Tivit and 3 Nadus in top 4, and the Tivit came out on top. And I was looking at his deck list. He was on 4 board wipes. Which board wipes are really good against Nadu. If they don't have creatures to target with their things, they can't do anything.
Yeah.
So maybe there's an increase of board wipes that we start to see. But I don't think a card's ban worthy just because it's done well in some tournaments. I think if it does get banned, it's going to be banned not for like a CDH purpose, but for like casual, where it just takes so long to resolve the abilities.
Yeah, because if we're just banning things because it takes so long to do the abilities, then why isn't Gitrog banned?
True. Well, Gitrog's hot,
That's fair.
and isn't that good of a deck, right?
That's
Like
fair.
Nadu can just compete with any deck right out of the gate without the deck being fine-tuned, right?
That's
Where
fair.
Gitrog has been fine-tuned up the wazoo, and it's still a bottom tier CDH deck.
Yeah. No, that's fair.
Yeah, but I don't think it needs to get banned. So shut up, everyone. Um,
Shut up, everyone. Good take. Good calm.
yeah. Uh, yeah. I guess this weekend I'm going to Tacoma to play in a tournament. With Nathaniel and the Nicholas. Me and Nathaniel are both playing Jensen Luris. Um, don't ask me why I'm playing Jensen Luris. I think I'm just having another one of those midlife crisis things. Where I'm not going to play Rogside because I did bad at a tournament. Because I'm still working through that mental problem that I have. But we'll get through it. But Jensen Luris seems like a cool deck, and we're going to play it, I guess. Unless I don't.
I think you
Because
should.
I don't have the deck built. I have cards pulled out for it, but who knows?
In my opinion, I think you should play Roxai.
I also think I should play Rogsai. I don't hate the deck. Like, I'm not gonna get rid of the deck. I think I just want to try a different deck out.
No, that's fair.
Maybe I build Blue Farm because there was some ideas I wanted to do with Blue Farm. I don't know what I'm playing yet. Probably Jensen Luris.
Okay,
I'm gonna probably stick with that.
that's
Anyway,
fair.
this is Nathaniel's list. My list is gonna look different. Fun fact.
That's fair.
Um, yep, that's the biggest news. Uh, I'm pretty sure it's not confirmed yet, but I'm pretty sure the Nick is gonna be playing Corvold.
Which is interesting. I'm
Yeah,
excited to
because he
see.
wanted to try the Chthonian Nightmare. There's like an Eldrazi he wants to try. There's a 4-drop sorcery Pitless Carnage, I think is the name, where you can
Mm.
sack any number of permanents, draw that many cards. But with Corvold out, you draw twice that many cards.
Yep, because
So
you're
there's like
sacking.
new cards that he wants to try out. And I told him to do it.
Dude,
So
I was so hoping Chthonian Nightmares would be legendary. I'd run it
yeah,
in Sisei.
yeah,
I've even thought about still running it in Sisei.
yeah. I To be fair, I did think about just building Atlas's Kenrith deck, because I have all the cards for it. So that's something that I might build, and take. But I'm pretty sure it's Jensen Loris.
Right? I think you should play Jensen Laris or Rogsai.
Yeah, but who knows? I'm a crazy individual who doesn't have a lot of time.
True, but you have a couple of days.
Yeah, but I don't have time to build a deck.
True,
I guess
so.
Friday. I have Friday off, so
Oh, fair. And then you're
Hebrews.
going to, what's it called? The team meetup?
Yep.
Which I might give you my playmat for.
Oh, and have people sign.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, I think that's all for the video. That's how we did at the tournament. It was fun.
Mm-hmm.
Best advice I can give people: have a good attitude when you go to a tournament. Don't be in a shit mindset. You'll do fine. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. We got a new channel logo, so that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
I can do things in the description, so I don't know what I'm gonna add in the description here. Probably Atlas's podcast, The Man on the Rocks. That's a good card podcast. Guy's podcast. I forget the name of Guy's podcast, but that'll probably be there.
Yeah. What is the name?
And then Discord links. I think that's all we really need.
Snapkeep?
It might be Snapkeep.
I think it's Snapkeep.
Anyway, it'll be in the description. Please check them out. They're amazing people. They make good content. We love them. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
about it.
Join the
Bye,
Discord.
guys.